Hello, everybody. This is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on FM at 107.7 and 103.5 FM out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Also on Roku, cable television, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, the UPRN Talk Radio website. That's uprntalkradio.com. And we're pre-recording this show because as you listen to this show, it'll be my birthday, and I just didn't feel like doing a birthday show on my birthday. I will be out in the Pyrenees, driving up mountains and walking around and trying to find new caves and really obscure churches with black Madonnas in them. That sounds like a good birthday gift, is to do a little Indiana Jonesing. So I just had to really good luck of bringing in Sally Hart, who's going to be, I guess you're going to be celebrating my birthday early, and also
Yay!
being Sally Hart, a phenomenal psychic from the UK. And welcome to the show, Sally.
Oh, I'm just so happy you invited me again. It's just lovely to connect. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just love what you do and your stories and how you came to be with your psychic abilities. It's all just amazing to me. Uh, People come in this world with, you know, all these different ways to get here to be a phenomenal person. Um, I just wanted to first begin the show telling a little bit about your bio, Sally Hart from www.heaven and then the letter 2 heaven2heart.com. And Sally is a gifted psychic who works with a range of higher vibrational beings such as star family, unicorns, and dragons, as well as ascended masters such as Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. She can channel their wisdom through speaking or automatic writing. She offers one-to-one spiritual development sessions, womb healing with Mary Magdalene, women's circles, and online meditation circles, and is going to be starting an online women's circle group very soon. And I guess that would be a worldwide circle. And
That's right,
Sally,
yeah.
woohoo! That's what we need more today is connection.
Yeah.
It's, and Sally has started offering guided tours to sacred sites in her area in the UK near Glastonbury and Stonehenge. And my favorite is right in the middle of that, Avebury Stone Circle, and channels through messages and information for the group. You can contact Sally via her website or social media. And as I said earlier, it's www.heaven2heart.com, and that's the number 2. And Sally Hart at Heaven to Heart at Instagram. So, what's been going on with you, Sally? What's new in your world?
You back? You've been you were buffering then a second.
Okay, it did buffer.
Don't know
We
if the
had a,
connection's so great today.
well,
Mm,
we'll just go the best we can. So, what's new with you?
we will. We will. I know I've got my Wi-Fi booster on and everything, so I know I'm belt and braces. So we shall just go for it.
We should,
So while
as
you're buffing,
always.
did you ask me a question?
Yeah, just what's been happening in your world?
Oh, buffering again for me.
Hmm. So we're having a little bit of
Okay.
buffer.
So I can't hear what you're saying, so I'm assuming that you're asking me the question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We were just we were just doing just fine a few minutes ago. How funny. So, what's new with your world? What's happening in the world of England, in the psychic world?
We were. Well, it's actually been quite exciting recently. So, I discovered a new Black Madonna in the island of Lanzarote, and that was totally amazing. It was in the most beautiful church that nobody seemed to visit. It's in the middle of a national park, so people wanted to do walks to see volcanoes and that kind of stuff. And there was a beautiful little church. And when you go inside, oh my goodness, the energy was so pure and so concentrated. And it was Our Lady of Sorrows, and she's a Black Madonna in the center of the altar. And the energy was so profound and uplifting that it's
Hmm.
somewhere, even though Lanzarote is just, a holiday destination with, bars and stuff like that, I'm definitely going back to the island for that because it was so
So,
powerful and so profound.
so,
I
so
would
can you tell me
say
the
that the
can you
energy,
can you tell me
can
the
you
name
hear
of
me
that
still?
island again? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you tell me the name of that island so people
I
who
can
are not in the
now.
UK? Yes.
Lanzarote, it's off the coast of Africa, about a couple of hours. It's 5 hours away from England, and it's a couple of hours off the coast of Africa, and it's one of the Canary Islands.
Oh, I see.
So
And a
there's
Black Madonna
Tenerife,
was there.
Fuerteventura, Lanzarote, and Graciosa, and some smaller islands. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm
So,
buffering now. Oh, I'm back.
yeah. I'm not getting any signal problems on my end, so it must be on your end. Um, so
I'm just going to
it's
check my
just,
Wi-Fi. Is there anything else I can do with this?
yeah. So the Canary Islands are, I'm just going
I'm
to
just seeing
start,
if there's
keep talking
anything,
while
but
you're,
I'm connected to the. I will do. Okay, so it says, yeah, I'm connected and secured. There's nothing more I can do.
okay. So the
Yeah,
Canary,
so what's magical about these islands is they're volcanic. So they're really connected to the energy of the earth.
hmm
That
yes.
central core, the central heat, we're connected to the central core of the earth. When the minute you get off the plane, you feel that energy. It's so pure and so powerful. And what I notice about the people who live on the island, they're quite laid back and quite connected. And I feel that the people sort of vibrate at a slightly higher level because they're in that energy all the time. And there's lots of fresh fruit, lots of fresh fish. I feel that it's quite a nice, solid place if you want to do spiritual work.
Hmm. Also, it would probably be in the domain of ancient Atlantis.
I'm not sure what else we can try about this because I buffer, then you buffer, and
I'm going to try
it's a
this.
very strange one today. Okay, you try what you can, and I'll try my
Can,
end to see if there's anything I can be doing.
can you hear me better? Can you hear me better now?
Um, is it good?
Unplug your headphones.
Yeah. Okay.
So, can you hear
They're
me now?
unplugged now.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Um,
Yes.
sometimes that's what happens is the headphones are the problem.
The connection seems
Okay,
stronger.
but yes,
Oh,
sometimes headphones do that.
yay.
Woo! So
Feels
we'll
weird
go
talking
back to the
without them, but
Canary
yay.
Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a Black Madonna down there. That's amazing in
Yes.
itself.
Yeah, and there's one in Tenerife as
Um,
well. there's a real strong tradition of Black Madonnas and Mother Mary in these islands. In fact, this Mother Mary, Our Lady of Sorrows, saved this part of the island from a volcanic eruption. In the 1700s, there's a massive volcanic eruption, and the people in the village went to the church and prayed to be saved from the lava, and they were. So then they built a bigger, sort of more fancier church because of it. And she's a specific Black Madonna that people on the island pray to. And I think it's in July they do a procession on the day that they were meant to sort of get burnt by the volcano and they were saved. They do a procession, and all other people from the island go to this church to take part in this procession to say thank you to her. So it's very much that she's the mother connecting us to the environment,
Hmm.
but she gives off Mother Gaia energy as well. That
Yep. Yep.
the connection
I
to
will.
source and the connection to our world being of primary importance.
I wonder if it's much like it is here in France and uh,
Do you want to say
maybe
something?
some other countries like Mexico, where the Mother Mary is the present tense goddess. But however, if you're able to go into the history, mainly through folklore, they'll find that there was another goddess that Mother
Yes.
Mary replaced. Like that's what happens in France. Is like
Yes.
there's a lot of
Yes.
Isis temples, or more like little small prayer centers, a chapel, so to speak. And that's what people say is that, oh, this used to be an Isis, but now it's Mother Mary. Just changed clothes a little bit.
Yes. That's exactly it. Yeah, and I think more and more people are becoming aware of this. I'm currently reading The Way of the Rose at the moment, and how the rosary is just an incarnation of goddess worship. People actually praying with roses and rose petals in the same way as using mala beads. And I'm currently reading that, and it's it's quite comforting as a reformed Catholic to know, I'm not a Catholic anymore.
Yes.
It's comforting to know that by working with the divine feminine and Mary, who used to play such a large role in my life, she still does, but really I see her more as a form of the goddess now, the goddess within all
Indeed.
of us. So
Indeed.
yeah.
And let's give a shout out to the author of The Way of the Rose, or both of them, Clark
um
Strand and Perdita Finn.
that's
They've both
right.
been on the show. I love having them on. They're great, and we just give them a warm thought and reflection. Great book to buy.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for birthing that book. It's being life changing for me. So, and I'm sure it's for many other people. So, thank you
Mm.
two for that. If you
How does
happen to
it
be
give?
watching,
Well, that's a real curious question. If you could sum it up, what's so life changing? What? Because that book has a lot of daring concepts in it, and it's one chapter after another that brings in a totally different story. They're not a cohesive type of novel, but many chapters, and there's so many concepts in that book. So, what changed you?
okay. So, as a child, I was brought up a Catholic, and I went to a convent school. And in the month of October, every lunchtime, we prayed the Rosary. And during other times as well, we used to go to mass and also pray the rosary. And I felt this profound connection to Mother Mary, and this
Mm-hmm.
profound connection to source. And it was the most beautiful thing. And my childhood was quite tumultuous, and I found great safety in the rosary. And then as I got older and I found out about the patriarchy and how the seen teachings had been subverted, and how Mary Magdalene had got written out of the Bible. And I started reading the Nag Hammadi texts, and different Gnostic Gospels. I felt, in a way, cheated that I'd done the rosary for all those years, because I really felt it when I did it. And I thought I've been feeding the patriarchy, and I've just been brainwashed. Then when I recommend, I haven't finished it
Okay,
yet.
you're blipping out a little bit. You said you've
I was
been
like, oh my
brainwashed or felt you've been
goodness, that
brainwashed by the
fits with how
patriarchy?
I feel. I thought I'd been brainwashed,
Yes.
yes, because forced to do this thing to worship, this, oh, let's pop in Mother Mary, who's, perfect and pure in every way, and virgin birth and all of that. And it was all these things that they were using to put women into smaller and smaller spaces. Oh yes, you shouldn't cry out during childbirth, that's why you have pain in childbirth, because you're so sinful, and all of that. And I felt, oh my goodness, I was part of that. I was brainwashed by that. Then when started reading the book, and I realized that actually the rosary fits and resonates with my work with the goddess, with the divine feminine, with Mary Magdalene, with masculine, divine feminine, masculine working in unison. I realized actually that wasn't part of the brainwashing. I was reaching in and feeling into the true meaning of the rosary pre Mother Mary, when it was working with the goddess and working with everyone who is, was, and shall be. And that's how it used to be. And then that made me feel so much better, so much so I'm asking my husband to go through the attic and find my rosary from my childhood and my statue of Mary. I'm ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some powerful
Beautiful.
stuff.
Yeah, so this is wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about what is that deep when you do the rosary? What do you feel inside of you that takes you to that deep place? Any
I
ideas?
feel I'm connected. I feel I'm connected on a soul level to all the women who came before, to the women who worship the goddess, to the women who are originally equal to men, to the women who started off as a goddess before the divine mother, before we had the divine father and then the divine son. Going back, time immemorial, I feel I'm connecting to those women who prayed with flowers, who used mala beads, who knew that not only are we connecting to the goddess, the birther of all women and all people, we're connecting to other women who've heard that call and who've followed that process and who've felt it in their hearts. By doing that, we're uniting, we're weaving this sacred container in which all of us are working together and communing together for the benefit of each other and for the benefit of humanity and the earth. It's multifaceted and multi-layered, and it just reaches me on such a profound level.
Wow. When you talk about that, I can just feel it in my womb space. I'm a
Mm,
man, of course, but still it's there. It feels like,
yes,
and I felt that when I read the book by Perdita and Clark,
yes,
that it goes right into my perineum and this
yes,
cosmic source way down there
right.
into what I really feel like is my, what holds a lot of my shadow energy. And what you're saying is that you're connecting to that with all women who are doing the rosary or
Yes.
are in that spiritual journey.
Mm, yeah, that's how I feel. And it's interesting what you were just saying about connecting to your hara. When I asked Mary Magdalene the function of the womb, she said it was a portal that births galaxies.
Can you
And
say
I
that?
never understood
Can you,
a
yeah, please.
portal.
That,
I asked Mary Magdalene what the function of a womb was, and she said it's for male and female, a portal which births galaxies. So the
wow.
idea is that we have a third eye, equivalent of a third eye in our womb space, and when we're working through that and connecting, we are literally connecting to the cosmos and to these higher realities. And when we do that, we're connecting with, like, with the Pleiades, with the solar system, and Oh yeah, let's not get me started on the Pleiades. That's another
No,
interview.
I know, but
Um,
you're doing great. Keep it up.
but
I
I'm
love
leaping
this.
from one thing to another, and we've not even touched on dragons.
We'll get
Yeah,
there.
so but by doing that, we're birthing in a new reality. That's what we're doing. And when the teachings of Isis and then Mary Magdalene and the Hathors before that, that was part of the womb magic of the sacred sexuality. It was linking masculine and feminine and connecting to that womb portal, that portal through which we can travel to ascend higher levels. And that's how I believe that Yeshua and Mary Magdalene were like conceived through this
Mm,
womb portal. When you get divine feminine and
mm,
masculine, you pull in what Mary Magdalene calls to me the golden grid of light, and you're pulling that in, and you're it's basically like the energy of stars. You know, we are star beings. We've got chemicals and elements in our bodies that could only have come from space. And that is what we're doing when we are connecting with our womb space, doing the rosary, and then doing the divine feminine and masculine, and doing the teachings of Isis. That is what we're doing.
almost
And
like,
everybody has that spark.
yeah, it's almost like it's a weaving that goes out in, thousands to millions of strands throughout the cosmos. But it also feels like a light sensation when you describe it.
Yes,
That's the vision I get.
yes, yeah, and yeah,
I
it's
love it.
and so what everybody is born with that spark of divinity within us, that little seed. And then what I see is when people work in this way, those seeds are germinating, aren't they? And they're growing, and they're it's like it's alive, and it is weaving between us and connecting us all. Because and when Jesus talks about the I am presence, that is what he's taught. I say she, but
He is
that's
she.
what's being talked
It's
about. The
okay.
I am present. Yeah. You know, Mary Magdalene, I wish I'd written this down. I was in Glastonbury channeling the other day, and she said, it was, I am me, I am the earth, I am the world. And I thought, yeah,
Mm.
that is it. That is it in a nutshell. And that's what came
It's
through. She gave this whole channeling about the I am presence.
wow. I did this show last week as a solo show because I've been practicing, really developing a meditation where I meditate bringing in all the planets of the solar system into different body parts, like the sun would be in my heart, the earth would be second chakra, Venus would be the back of the brain. But then when you get down below the second chakra, you go into the outer planets, which would be Neptune as the sexual organs, Uranus as the perineum, in that shadow there, the deep shadow of life. And then Pluto is in our fascia, all throughout our body. And from the fascia, then we spring forth out into our Buddhic body and, of course, out into the universe. And it seems to have a lot of similarities to what you're saying because
Yes, it
we
does.
have
I've
to
never
bring,
even, yeah,
yeah, our sexuality, our sexual organs, or our womb, as you say, is very much about Neptune energy, which is the underworld. It's everything that's kind of unknown, which is the underworld. And our sexuality, we're wanting to bring that up, that underworld, through this very mysterious desire that it can bring, but also a very mysterious ability to manifest and to create things. But we have to get into the shadow. And also, it connects us to something much, much, much bigger.
yeah, yeah. What you're saying really resonates.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to watch last time's show and do
Well,
that meditation.
it's you're already doing it, really, but it's just interesting that you're getting this, in the Magdalene um, teachings or the
Yeah,
path of Magdalene, because yours
yeah,
is like you're reading concepts from what I understand, and you're reading stuff about Magdalene And then all of a sudden, if I get this correctly, please correct me if I'm not, it's like a idea or a concept will just pop out and give you an idea that wasn't in the text.
It kind of works the other way around. I get something through, like Mother Mary. So I was gifted a statue, a most beautiful statue of Mother Mary last July, and then I started working with her on and off. And then she kept showing me rosary beads. And I was telling some ladies in one of my circles, and they said, "You've got to read The Way of the Rose." Then and you're right, and then that, yes, I suppose you're right, because then the teachings pop out. So Mother Mary's like, you've got, that got brought to my attention. I hadn't heard of that particular book. And then, yes, and then that sparks what she wanted me to know all along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're taking it a bit deeper in the way of the rose, as a book should. A book should launch, other ideas. That's a sign of
Mm.
a very creative book. Uh, However, you are taking it out there, and I'm guessing your women's groups are, and your men and women's groups, excuse me, but you have a women's and uh, both gender group. You do this type of work.
Yes. How the groups work is, when we first, I always have an idea and a meditation noted down just in case.
Hmm.
So I'm a bit belt and braces. And then what happens is, whatever is going on in people's worlds, that is what spirit give me. So today I've just finished a group before this recording, and oh my goodness, it was this beautiful meditation in which we met with Mother Mary, went in a labyrinth, and there were roses, 13 roses, rose bushes, and water that was flowing. And at each point, there was something we either got rid of, that something that didn't serve, or for some people, I was traveling through. Some people had pain in their back or their shoulder. And then sometimes it was people whose pineal gland had been clouded over, and all the things come through. And as we go round, these things are released. And then we end up in the center with Mother Mary, and we had to put our hands like this in the giving and receiving position, and we could feel her hands in ours, and she gave us this powerful activation. So yes, I don't do it with like, oh right, today I'm going to teach you about Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary.
No,
She comes through and she shows us, and it's always exactly what we need at that time. It's so powerful.
it
Yeah.
isn't that. That's so inspiring. I just wanted to let everybody know we're at midpoint of the show, and you are listening to Sally Hart at www.sally2heart, that'd be the number two, sally2heart.com. And my name is Bart Sharp, and you are listening to Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 FM out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And you know, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and whoever you're asking, they come in unpredictable ways. And it really sounds a lot like that's what the group needed for that day.
Yes. 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 It's yeah, it's amazing. I mean, sometimes we get staff family come through in the group. Sometimes we do get the dragons. Once or twice we've had unicorns, and we either get an activation or a healing or a journey in which spirit know that there's things each of us need to find out, and we get given, they set the container so we can go on that journey and discover them for ourselves. Yeah, it's powerful stuff, and you can't,
Yeah.
it's hard to encapsulate in an advert why people should come and join, because it's different every time and it's exactly what you need. There's no course list on Monday we'll do this and da da da. It's just however it's meant to be. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it resonates
It
with it.
shows up. It's, uh,
Mm,
I do something similar in Austin. And, you can have a little bit of a map of what you're going to do, but you really don't know because everybody influences it and their needs
yeah.
influence it, it sounds like.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Sounds like
so
you're doing powerful work too in Austin.
well, we all are. And, this is the joy of it. And we're getting out worldwide, and this is what's needed. So, this idea of a collective consciousness connecting to the deepest part of our womb and getting to something bigger than just us as an individual. We're connecting with people around the planet, but also beyond in the cosmos. Can you give anybody advice on how they can practice that or what tools they need to learn and develop a little guidance?
Okay, so the first thing is meditation. Once you can, and it, okay, first of all, it doesn't need, you don't need to be silent. You don't have to still your mind. You just have to allow yourself to be. If thoughts pop in, that is fine. Acknowledge them. Don't try and push them out straight away. Acknowledge them, like, oh, today in a meditation the lady got through her chicken, she left the chicken in the oven, so she acknowledges it. I'll deal with the chicken when I get home. And so allow thoughts to come in, be acknowledged, and then they go. So that's the first stage. If you can't meditate, just do something like, if you drink a cup of coffee in the morning, try and sit outside or look out of your window while you drink your coffee, or while the kettle boils, which takes about 3 minutes, or while you listen to your favorite song, which is about 3.5 minutes. That's all it takes for you to just be immersed and mindful in that moment. And that's allowing your soul to sort of breathe and take that breath and connect out. And if you set the intention that that's what you want to do, you'll get it in little glimmers, these little snapshots. Then when you build up, it's like a muscle. When you build up that muscle and you can meditate, set your intention that you want to connect or find out what your next step is in your journal. You want to connect to the highest vibrational being possible, and just allow that to happen. Just allow it to come through. If you're struggling, you can imagine a ladder going up through the clouds and going up to, I call it heaven. And you can just imagine, for mine, I just did this, imagine this beautiful pink and fluffy place, and it doesn't matter. It's just a place where you feel at rest. If you want to connect to star beings, imagine a ladder or an elevator going up into a spaceship. Those things you're just creating so that your mind feels happy enough to relax and switch off and go there. The
Mm.
other thing is the golden grid of light. So Mary Magdalene, it came through, and it comes through in different ways for different people, but there's this golden grid over everywhere. It's infinite over our planet, over the solar systems. And when people do Reiki or healing, they're drawing on that light of source coming through. And we can connect to that golden grid to be able to connect to ascended masters and connect to Mary Magdalene and star family. And what you do is you visualize like a golden sun over your head and draw it through for your crown chakra. And you'll feel it spreading out along your body, going to all the little nooks and crannies where maybe trauma or stress or anxiety is stored, and that will be released even down to a cellular level, and you will feel it, and you'll feel that warmth, and you'll feel the heat, and in return this golden light is healing those areas. Then you imagine it going down through the soles of your feet, connecting you to Gaia, so you're rooted with Gaia, your crown's in the cosmos with the golden grid, and you become a pillar of light, a pure channel, and from there you can access or do whatever you need to do.
Wow.
So, long
It's like
answer.
it's like bringing in an energetic source or a consciousness source
Yes.
to make your consciousness bigger, and you're invited in a big one, and it really works, folks. Is
Yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah, it
And
really
yeah,
does.
yeah. So you have been Catholicized and uncatholicized and gone into spirituality, learned about Magdalene, learned about Mother Mary from your upbringing. And now my guess is your concepts about those two have changed radically since you've gone into the spiritual world. And wanted to see if you could share a little bit about how they have changed for you.
So, interestingly, with Mary Magdalene, I never thought of her as a sinner. I never did. I always felt there was more to her story, even as a young child. And
Mm.
also the way, even as a child, I used to ask priests about Mary Magdalene, and Mary, and I used to have loads of questions like, where do
You
pets
must,
go when they die? Do they have a soul? And um, all of that stuff. I was keen to get to the root of it.
yeah,
Um,
you're a troublemaker. That's all
I
I can
was.
say.
I was a troublemaker. In fact, in my village, they've labelled me a witch. So,
Mm.
which is a whole nother story. Um, so yeah, you go me, because I'm just outwardly spoken about the patriarchy. Yeah, so Mary Magdalene has changed from being somebody omitted in the Bible to being a way shower. She, I feel, is a way shower. She was, not that there's a hierarchy, but I feel she was always equal to Jesus, equal to Yeshua. She had her parts that she needed to teach. Yeshua had his. Together they make divine feminine and masculine. And that's what I believe that they were brought here to do. And then unfortunately, even on a disciple level, they weren't having it and try to shut it down. And then obviously when Paul or Saul came along after his road to Damascus, awakening, that's when Mary Magdalene was really eradicated. But I feel that Mother Mary came first, and she was the one that women found easier to get on with because there was more about her in the Bible, more about her in texts and books and things like that. And then when people got their head around Mother Mary, then came in Mary Magdalene. And then I feel that Mary Magdalene was like, oh yeah, do you know what? People thought I was a sinner, but I wasn't. And people really resonate with that. Women really resonate. Oh yeah, the patriarchy said I was this, I was too loud. I mean, one of the disciples in one of the conversations says she's talking too much. And then Jesus says, I'll make a man of her, meaning that she is equivalent to a man, let her talk. So even on a disciple level, it was very much like that. And so she's one that we can really relate to now. And the outlier, the black sheep, if you like. And we were ready to hear her wisdom. And of course, people started becoming awake, and people were more aware of her wisdom, men and women. And that's how we're bringing in the age of Aquarius, which I feel we're almost in already. I don't think we've got that long to go to we're fully in there. And I got through in a meditation a few months ago that enough of us are awake now to bring us into the new future. There's enough of us now to be able to lift us in.
So, do you have a prediction of when you think the age of Aquarius is like fully in?
I think it's in our lifetime. I'm thinking sort of 10, 15 years. I don't think it's long now. And look at the way I'm not going to bring in politics, but look at the way social structures and things are falling all
Yeah,
around the world. That's part of it.
yeah,
And people
yeah,
have been brought in to break it down, to make it quicker, and that's their role. People have
yeah,
taken on that role to come to here to break things down
yeah.
so that this new future can emerge. That's why I think it's
Troublemakers,
going to be.
yeah, troublemakers like you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hoping with, the Pope dying, I think that's significant. And I think the new Pope, this is what I got through, he's going to be more of a door opener.
Wow, that would be neat.
That's, that is what I
Francis,
feel.
I thought Francis was quite a door opener himself.
Yes, he was. I feel that too, but I feel that now more doors going to be open, whether that's going to be information, whether that's going to be, I'm hoping it's all the old texts. That's what I
Hmm.
personally want to be the first. Wealth, knowledge, I feel that is to come now. So
Wow.
I'm quite, for the first time in a long time, I'm quite excited about
Mm.
what's going on in the Catholic Church, which I've been afraid of it for quite a while, but now I'm quite excited about what's to come.
Wow.
I think we're living in powerful times.
We are, and I love that message. That's wonderful. So we don't want to forget about the discussion of dragons and unicorns. You got me really curious about that because I hear lots of people talking about dragon energies and bringing in and summoning those beings in from the
Yeah.
earth and other places. I always associate unicorns as with 7-year-old girls, and their little unicorn ponies.
I was
playing
going to
around.
talk about that actually. That comes into what I want to talk about.
So I really want to hear. I know I'm open for change. So
Okay.
how do those work for you, unicorns and
Okay,
dragons?
let's see if I can sway you then, so that unicorns aren't just for 7-year-old girls. Let's see how well I do.
All right.
So, so some of this information I've got from a friend, Hilary Stanley, who's really good at working with. She works with dragons and the violet flame, and she put it in words that are better than I can. So she said, in a nutshell, that the Earth's vibration is rising and becoming less dense. Because it's rising and becoming less dense, our dimension is become closer to the higher dimensions. So that means that once we meditate and things like that, we are able to go higher. Our world is already higher, so we're closer to those dimensions. Then in 1987, we had the harmonic convergence when there's a black hole and this energy. I can't remember if it's astronomical or astrological. I think it's astronomical, and it sent this energy into our world. And this is where the My Little Ponies come in. Because in 1987, that's roughly when My Little Ponies were released. And in the 80s, the world went, well, unicorn mad. Little girls had unicorn duvet sets. I remember that. Do you remember the 80s? And there's all this unicorn this and unicorn that and Pierrot
Oh
clowns.
yeah.
In England, it was that. And that's because that unicorn consciousness was coming down into the people.
Mm.
And so I believe that even if people, I call them muggles, the ones that aren't, connected, but I believe that the creatives amongst those bring things through. For example, I feel that Avatar, the first Avatar, was channeled. I feel it was channeled, and I think that they can connect to these energies, and the artists and people start bringing like pictures of unicorns through, and before and other people resonate with that, and then the world goes unicorn mad. So I think unicorns were the forerunners, a bit like Mother Mary, because they're easier and fluffier to get your head around. Then in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was the time of the dragon. So do you remember that like goths were having like dragon t-shirts and that kind of thing? And now we've got
Hmm.
Game of Thrones with dragons.
Oh yeah.
Um, and Lord of the Rings became really popular and all of that. And that was because the dragon energy, people were reaching up and the dragon energy was ready to come through. So that's how I believe it all started. Now, I want to talk a little bit about dragons. And am I allowed to jump straight to dragons and Mary Magdalene? Is that all right?
You're doing great. Just jump ahead.
Okay, I'll just go with the flow then. So what I see is dragons links to Mary Magdalene and the sex magic to do with the Kundalini. So that is how Mary Magdalene linked with the light conception and the sex magic and all that kind of thing. But also, I see serpents and dragons as the protectors of sacred sites and sacred places and the protector of the earth. And like we were talking about earlier with Mother Mary and the goddess energy and being connected to the earth, the dragons are guardians of the earth. So that is why they've got such an important part to play at this time. And I also believe that when, like, for example, when I go to Glastonbury and I channel Mary Magdalene in the Chalice Well or go to the base of the Tor, you can feel the dragons underneath. And so my belief is that sacred sites have ley lines because that's why people felt them. They
Hmm.
had stone circles or henges. And
Yeah.
dragons, one of their roles is protecting these sacred sites. So every sacred site I've been to, I can feel the dragon energy, and there are dragons there. And you have the phrase "as above, so below."
Hmm.
Underneath the ground, the ley lines look silver. They're silver to dragons, and the energy of those standing stones is still under the ground, and that's where the dragons are, healing the stones and protecting and making sure that parts of them still stand for future generations. And I also feel that when I work with my dragons, they're always quite powerful, and I use them for like kick-ass stuff. Like if
Hmm.
I need some help with psychic protection, or I tell you what, I used to teach in a school, a special school where children could. So I'd always send my dragon into the classroom first. to make sure it's safe. And when I arrived in the car park in the morning, my dragons would kind of do a bit of a scan before I came through the door. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's a child who is quite aggressive, I'd say to staff, let's just wait outside for a moment. And then when the child calms down, then we go in. And dragons are really powerful for that. And it's strength and wisdom, but defending what's right and
Mm-hmm.
defending the light is how I feel dragons are. Now, I don't see them as male or female, but sometimes they do have a male or female energy.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do find, if there's a lesson that I have not been learning, and there's something they want me to know, that's when a dragon will come into my meditation and tell me. And when they're there, I know I've got to pay attention, no ignoring it anymore. If there's shadow work I need to do, that is when my dragons will come in. Because you don't really want to mess with them. They're quite strong energy and they haven't got the best sense of humor, I find. It's when it's
It,
something quite serious and you don't mess with them. If
do
they're
you
coming
feel
through, they want you to know something.
do you feel like this is what my angel, my guardian angel tells me? I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. When you start to have this relationship with dragons in general, do you think it becomes a part of your embodiment? Like, you know, kind of like they're part of you now.
I personally don't feel that my dragons are part of me. I
Okay.
feel they come in when I need them. But I know that you see, some people work with dragons more than I do and feel that they are a dragon and their dragons are constantly with them. I know a number of people who do that, but for me, mainly it's Mary Magdalene. But I
Okay.
know that if I need something and there's something serious, they bring in the big guy,
Okay. Well,
black dragon comes through.
they may not have the best people skills anyway, as opposed to Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary, who are super gentle.
Maybe not.
Just a
Yeah.
little humor.
But I
So
know that
just
some people do work with them,
yeah. So how do you do that?
not
I
all
mean,
the time.
can you give some people some advice on how to bring dragons into their life?
Well, there's a dragon meditation that I do. One
Mm-hmm.
of these days I will record it and put it on my website. But what you do, what we this is how I do it for the people who come to my dragon workshops and things, is that we go on a meditation and we go to this place and they're in a circle and your own dragon comes forward and that's when you meet them and then you create that bond. So if you wanted to do that yourself at home, the thing to do would be to ask for your everybody has a dragon guide, so you can
Mm-hmm.
ask for your dragon guide to come forward and ask to be introduced. But don't, there's a few rules, like don't just touch them, ask permission to be touched. Don't just
Mm-hmm.
climb on their backs, ask permission. Sometimes you'll be granted, sometimes you won't. They're not, you've got to be respectful. You've got to be
Yeah.
respectful with the
Yeah.
dragons. Out of everybody I work with, them and Lord Katumi are the ones where I have to be a bit more formal. So
Yeah.
uh,
It's quite a skill and talent to be able to visualize that and to have a teacher help you, but also kind of hold the container or a conduit for it to come in is really beneficial.
yes, in my meditations, I'm quite lucky in I don't do this all the time. Um, when I need to, if I'm doing a meditation like that, I can feel into people's energies, and if I feel somebody hasn't connected, then I can go into the meditation with them and say, look to your left, or can you see that red dragon to the right, or
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I do it in the groups. But for people at home, a good way to do it actually would be to hold something like a stone like septarian or obsidian, which I think Game of Thrones, I haven't actually watched it, but someone said they call it dragon glass.
Mm-hmm.
Hold a crystal like that and then set your intention. And if there's a sacred site, particularly somewhere in nature or something with trees, visualize yourself there and your dragon will step forward. But these
Wow.
are things to do the good thing to do is to set aside a meditation practice, a time each day or a time each week, so that your body and spirit get in the way of, you meditating. Mine always used to be Tuesdays at 2:30 for various reasons. And so if you do that, then you can start doing all of these things, connect to your unicorn, connect to your guides, um, your
Wow.
angels. It's just putting that system in place for yourself.
Wow. Good stuff. So we're coming down to the end of the show, and I wanted everybody to kind of get, or maybe I just need to ask you point blank, what are you doing these days? What classes are you having? Projects? Interests?
So at the moment, I do women's circles in person, and I'm starting an online circle as well, which I will put on my website, heaventoheart.com. And I'm just bringing through a journaling course. So it's the idea that you can journal using oracle cards as well. So you connect to spirit, you pull a card, you write about the card, and spirit will give you information, or you set yourself an intention, you write about it, pull a card, and do it backwards way round, and then spirit will give you sort of a spiritual backup or an added insight or added support. So that's something I'm working through. And I think there's one of the Hay House authors, somebody told me a while back, a couple of days ago, that she's also doing a course. So I'm going to look at that as well and see how it mixes in with mine. And I'm going to be teaching with my way of doing journaling. And I'm also going to be doing a Zoom connect, but it's not on my website yet, about connecting with dragons. And it's all going to be about Mary Magdalene and connecting with dragons, in which you will be able to connect with your dragon and do a dragon flight. That's
Wonderful.
that's what we're going to be doing. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And you can find more about Sally Hart at Sally
Heaven,
to
it's
Heart.
heaven to heart.com.
Thank you. And that would
That's
be
the name.
the number two,
Number two. Uh,
heaventoheart.com.
I just
Yes.
remembered another thing I'm doing is if people are interested in sacred sites in England, I'm starting to do in sort of the Glastonbury area, starting to do tours. It's not a typical guided tour, it's very similar to your tours, Bart, where we go somewhere and we get activations, and I'll channel the energy and channel through Mary Magdalene or the dragons, or whoever happens to be there, and then give individual little psychic insights, mini readings as we go around as well. So if anyone's
Mhm.
interested in a bespoke, very small tour where there's not many of us, where you just get my psychic insights, then
I
that's
think that's a wonderful way to do it, is to keep them small. I mean, mine are small, and because it kind of gets unfiltered after with so many people in them with that. And it's good to have a tour guide, particularly in England or France, because there's so many little known places. They're both very magical countries. To me, they're the most magical I've seen. But so it's great to be around somebody who knows.
I mean, I really appreciated all your information about France when I went to France. I was so grateful. And what I love is you have such an unique and incisive knowledge about the area. And what I love is you pick up on the energies of these places.
It,
And
it's a
so
it's an obsession.
I know that anywhere people go with you, it's going to be magical and energetic and heart opening. They
It
truly are magnificent
Well, I think
tours.
this is why we all do these things with sacred sites. With that is it's a passion, and we just got to do it. So we're coming to the end of the show, and if you had 1 minute of just to give everybody a parting wisdom, uh, think about that. And while you're thinking about that, I want to tell everybody that you are listening to Sally Hart at heaventoheart.com, and that's number two. And my name is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. And next week we will have Kay Creasel, and we will be talking about some of the more rejected saints, particularly female saints of our era, those who were misunderstood or never really truly gotten for all of their talents. And regardless, they became saints because they were so incredible. So Kay Crystal, biblical expert, will be with us. And this is Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 103.5 FM out of New Orleans. Sally, what kind of parting wisdom do you have for everybody?
I think people need to know that everybody is unique and special. Everybody has that spark of divinity within them, and everybody is worthy. And once we get and connect to ourselves on a heart and a soul level, nothing else really matters. Everything else is superfluous. So once you know and you can feel it, I can feel it now, I can feel it building up,
Mm-hmm.
that you are loved. And it's not, it's the world loves you. The trees, the plants, the ascended masters, source. And once you know that, and you've got this spiritual and natural wingmen and women, it gives you that safe container to be able to go out into the world and do your thing, whatever it is, knowing that you are supported.
And you change the world all along while you do that.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on the show, Sally. And we'll see everybody next week. And until then, we'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye.